We are doing the third sermon of season 4. We have done 3 seasons before, 10 sermons each, explaining the path to Sothapanna, the first level of enlightenment, as per Dhammacakkapavattana Sutra. Dhammacakkapavattana Sutra was the first sutra that Lord Buddha delivered after attaining Buddhahood, as you all know. And after listening to that sermon, only the Panchavakya Bhikkhu, the first 5 disciples, Kondanya, Bhadya, Vappa, Mahanamasaji, became Sothapanna, attained the first level of enlightenment. So to attain the first level of enlightenment, the most important sutra is the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutra. So to explain the path to Sothapanna in this series, I am mainly using the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutra, and in addition to that, I am also quoting information from several other sutras, such as Dveda Vitakka Sutra, Vitakka Santana Sutra, Ratana Sutra, and Sothapanna Sutra, and a few other sutras as well. All these sutras I have taken from the oldest Tripitaka in the world, which is kept at the British Library in London. During the past 5 years, I have visited the British Library more than 100 times to read this Tripitaka. In 2022 alone, I visited the British Library 36 times. This is the oldest Tripitaka in the world, and that has been written down at Alulena Rajamaha Vihara in Kegol district in Sri Lanka. And that has been written down 456 years after Lord Buddha passed away. So this Tripitaka is over 2,100 years old. Dhammacakkapavattana Sutra in this Tripitaka is written on gold leaves and on 50 pages. There are 4 other Tripitakas in Sri Lanka that I have read, where I have read the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutra. In all those 4 Tripitakas, Dhammacakkapavattana Sutra is given on only 3.5 pages. The 4 Tripitakas are the Buddha Jayanti Tripitaka, which was written down in 1956. Then in 1990s, there's a Tripitaka written by a Buddhist monk called Venerable Kiribat Godanyanananda. And then less than 100 years ago, an English gentleman translated the Tripitaka in Sri Lanka into English, a gentleman called Ray Davies. And then there was an American monk who, named Bhikkhu Bodhi, who lived in Sri Lanka for 24 years, and he translated the Tripitaka into English, and that is also less than 100 years old. So the 4 Tripitakas that we have in Sri Lanka are less than 100 years old, but the old Tripitaka that was written down in Sri Lanka at Alulena Rajamaha Vihara, which is now kept at the British Library in London, is over 2,100 years old. So I call it the old Tripitaka, and the new Tripitakas, I call them new Tripitakas to differentiate between them. So as I said earlier, in the old Tripitaka, the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutra is given on 50 pages. First 3.5 pages, they have the summary, and then the explanation on 46.5 pages. And the new Tripitakas, only the summary is given there on all 4 Tripitakas on 3.5 pages, and the explanation of 46.5 pages is missing. It's not there. So due to this reason, the Dhamma points that I am explaining from the old Tripitaka might sometimes differ from the Dhamma that you have heard from the new Tripitakas and other sources. And if that is the case, don't develop anger, resentment, or arguments against it. Just practice the principle that Lord Buddha explained in Kalama Sutra. In Kalama Sutra, Lord Buddha said Don't either believe or disbelieve what I say. Just listen to what I am saying, remember it, take it home, and go through it several times and analyze it using your intelligence and wisdom. And at the end of the day, if you feel that this Dhamma is correct, you can take it, practice it, and you will get results very quickly. On the other hand, if you feel that this is wrong, just leave it out and carry on with whatever you were doing before, but don't develop anger, resentment, or arguments against it. So I make the same kind request from all of you. Now, let me recap what we did so far in season 4, sermon 1 and sermon 2. I explained what we mean by Sothapanna, what are the benefits of becoming Sothapanna, and what happens to a person if he doesn't become Sothapanna. So on this third sermon, I'm going to explain how to become Sothapanna as per Dhammacakkapavattana Sutra. Nagsen and Rima, can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, Bhante ji.
Archana, can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, Bhante, we can hear you.
Thank you, both of you. Right. So first I'm going to chant the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutra. Those who know the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutra, this is a summary. They can chant with me and the rest can listen to it carefully. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Evam me sutang ekang samayam bhagava Varanasiyang viharati isipatane migadaye Tatrako bhagava panchavagye bhikkhu amantesi Dvame bhikkhave anta pabbajitena na sevitabba Yochayang kame sukama sukallikanu yogo Hino dhammo potujjaniko anariyo anatta sanghito Yochayang atta kilamatanu yogo Dukkho anariyo anatta sanghito Ete te bhikkhave anupagamma majjhima patipada Tathagatena abhisambuddha Chakukarani jnanakarani upasamaya abhinyaya Sambodhaya nibbānaya sangvattati Seyyatidam sammaditthi samma sankappo Samma vacha samma kammanto Samma ajivo samma vayamo Samma sati samma samadhi Idanko pana bhikkave dukkhaṃ arya saccang Jati pi dukkha jara pi dukkha Vyadi pi dukkha maranam pi dukkhaṃ Soka parideva dukkha domanassa upayasa pi dukkha Piyehi vippayogo dukkho Appiyehi sampayogo dukkho Yampi iccang nalabati tampi dukkhaṃ Sankittena panca upadana skandha dukkha Idanko pana bhikkave dukkha samudayo arya saccang Yayam tanha pono bhavika nandiraga sahagata Tatra tatra binandani seyyatidam Kama tanha bhavatanha vibhavatanha Idanko pana bhikkave dukkha nirodho arya saccang Yotassa yeva tanhaya asesa viraga nirodho Chago patinissaggo mutti analayo Idanko pana bhikkave dukkha nirodhagamini patipada arya saccang Ayameva ariyo attangiko maggo seyyatidam Samma ditti samma sankappo Samma vacha samma kammanto Samma ajivo, samma vayamo, samma sati, samma samadhi. Idan dukkang arya sacchanti me bhikkave, ubbe ananussute sudammesu, chakkung udapadi jnanang udapadi panya udapadi, vijja udapadi aloko udapadi. Idan dukkang arya saccang parinyatanti me bhikkave, ubbe ananussute sudammesu, chakkung udapadi jnanang udapadi panya udapadi, vijja udapadi aloko udapadi. Idan dukkang arya saccang parinyanti me bhikkave, ubbe ananussute sudammesu, chakkung udapadi jnanang udapadi panya udapadi, vijja udapadi aloko udapadi. Idan dukkha samudayo arya sacchanti me bhikkave, ubbe ananussute sudammesu, chakkung udapadi jnanang udapadi panya udapadi, vijja udapadi aloko udapadi. Idan dukkha samujayo arya saccang pahatabbanti me bhikkave, ubbe ananussute sudammesu, chakkung udapadi jnanang udapadi panya udapadi, vijja udapadi aloko udapadi. Idan dukkha samudayo arya saccang pahinanti me bhikkave, ubbe ananussute sudammesu, chakkung udapadi jnanang udapadi panya udapadi, vijja udapadi aloko udapadi. Idan dukkha nirodho arya sacchanti me bhikkave, ubbe ananussute sudammesu, chakkung udapadi jnanang udapadi panya udapadi, vijja udapadi aloko udapadi. Idan dukkha nirodho arya saccang saccikatabbanti me bhikkave, ubbe ananussute sudammesu, chakkung udapadi jnanang udapadi panya udapadi, vijja udapadi aloko udapadi. Idan dukkha nirodhagamini patipada arya sacchanti me bhikkave, ubbe ananussute sudammesu, chakkung udapadi jnanang udapadi panya udapadi, vijja udapadi aloko udapadi. Idan dukkha nirodhagamini patipada arya saccang bhavita tabbanti me bhikkave, ubbe ananussute sudammesu, chakkung udapadi jnanang udapadi panya udapadi, vijja udapadi aloko udapadi. Idan dukkha nirodhagamini patipada arya saccang bhavitanti me bhikkave, ubbe ananussute sudammesu, chakkung udapadi jnanang udapadi panya udapadi, vijja udapadi aloko udapadi. Yavaki vancha me bhikkave, imesu chatusu arya saccesu, evang tiparivattang dvadasakarang jnana dassanang suvisuddhang ahosi. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now, I just chanted the most important part of the summary of the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutra, where Lord Buddha has explained to us what we should do in order to go all the way up to Arhathood, the fourth level of enlightenment. But we are going only up to the first level of enlightenment. So we are not going all the way. So let's start explaining. Now, this is the summary. Let's start explaining from the beginning what this summary is saying. So Lord Buddha says, Dva me bhikkhave anta, pabbajitena na sevitabba, yochayang kamesu kallikani yogo, hino dhammo potujjaniko anariyo anatta sangato, yochayang atta kilamatani yogo, dukkho anariyo anatta sanghito, etete bhikkhave anupagamma majjhima patipada, tathagatena abhisambuddha, Chakku karani jnana karani upasamaya abhinyaya sambodhaya nibbānaya samvattīti seyatidam sammaditi samma sankappo samma vāca samma kammanto samma ājivo samma vāyamo samma sati samma samadhi. So that's the first part that Lord Buddha is asking us to do. So he says, firstly, there are two extremes that we should not associate ourselves with. One extreme is Kamasukallikana Yoga. The other one is Artha Kilamatana Yoga. Then he says we should come to Majjhima Patipada. Now let's see what is Kamasukallikana Yoga. Now there are people here who follow the season 3, season 2 and season 1 as well. Can someone explain to us what is Kamasukallikana Yoga? Yes, Archana.
Kamsukallikani Yoga. Yes, Bhante. Kamsukallikani Yoga is a person who would be indulging himself into all the senses to have the pleasures.
That's correct, yes. To simplify that, a person who does not know Dhamma, he believes that he lives, the purpose of his life is to satisfy the 6 senses, eyes, ears, nose, body, tongue, and the mind. So is there anyone here who doesn't do that at all? Is there anyone? So that means everyone here is in Kamasukallikana Yoga. So you have to start coming out of that. You can't come out of that completely at once. If you do that, you'll be Arahat. But once you have listened to this Dhamma and you have comprehended the first Dhamma at the first level, the 4 noble truths at the first level, you will have 7 Buddha Jnanas, as I explained in the previous sermon, and you will come to Sammaditi, and then you will take a U-turn. You will stop, you will gradually try to reduce the Kamasukallikana Yoga. In other words, trying to satisfy the mind through the 6 senses. Through the 6 senses, the Pruthakjana person means a person who has not comprehended the 4 noble truths at the first level and not become Sothapanna. That person is living to satisfy the 6. When Rupa Vedana Sanya comes to his mind, he will do a Sankara, and in order to enjoy Aswada, because he does not know the downfall of Aswada. The Sankara and Aswada I will explain as I go on. So for the time being, what I want to explain to you, make it very, very clear to you, is what we mean by Kamasukallikana Yoga. Kamasukallikana Yoga means trying to living to satisfy the 6 senses. In other words, when we say trying to satisfy the 6 senses, the Pruthakjana person who does not know this Dhamma, Lord Buddha's correct teachings, he lives to satisfy, enjoy Aswada. Aswada is a mentally fabricated pleasure. I will explain it in more detail as I go on. And that mentally fabricated pleasure has a serious downfall, and this person doesn't know that. So, as because of that, every time when Rupa Vedana Sanya comes to his mind, he will do a Sankara to enjoy Aswada. And he is doing it all day. But the person who has comprehended Dhamma and who is coming to Sothapanna Marga, that person will start gradually, he will take a U-turn and he will gradually start reducing enjoy Aswada through the six senses. Archana was quite right. Archana said it in a nutshell, but I explained it in more detail. Is that clear to everyone now? If it is not clear, please question me now. Is that clear to everyone? Okay, it seems that it's clear to everyone. No questions. So we have to come out of that Attakilamathani. And also Lord Buddha said we have to come out of Kama Sukallikan. What is Kama Sukallikan Yoga? Sorry, what is Attakilamathani Yoga, Archana?
Attakilamathana Yoga is a self-mortification, self-affliction, or giving unnecessary torture to your body.
Quite right, 100% right. Giving unnecessary suffering to the body and the mind is Attakilamathani Yoga. I'm sure none of you do that, so we don't have to worry about it. The average person does not do that. It's only people who go to the forest and try to meditate. Some of the people who try, wrong meditation techniques do that. For example, Bodhisattva Gautama, Siddhartha Gautama Bodhisattva, before he became Buddha, he went to the forest and tried to eradicate his raga and develop his wisdom to the highest level and comprehend how this universe works, the universal laws. First, he tried while he was living a lay life for 29 years, he tried Kama Sukallikan Yoga, and then he realized that that's not going to give results, permanent satisfaction, permanent contentment, what Lord Buddha calls Santutti. And then he went to the forest and started giving unnecessary suffering to his body, what we call Attakilamathana. Then he realized that is also not giving any results to him, the desired results. He came out of it. So he's asking us to do the same. Come out of the Attakilamathana Yoga also. I'm sure none of us do that. Then it's only the ascetics, like Gautama Bodhisattva and Panchavagya Bhikkhu, who went to the forest to look for the truth, tried doing this. Average person doesn't do that, so we don't have to worry about it. Then Lord Buddha says, leave those two extremes and come to Majjhima Patipada. What is Majjhima Patipada?
The Noble Eightfold Path, Bhante, which is Sammaditthi, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Samma Ajiva, Samma Vayama,
Samma Ajiva,
Samma
Samma Vayama,
Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi.
100% right. So Lord Buddha says, come to Majjhima Patipada. Majjhima Patipada is the Noble Eightfold Path, he says. Not the middle path. If you say middle path, you are going to get into a muddle. Most books and most teachers say Majjhima Patipada means middle path. It's not the middle path. In the Dhammacakkapavattana, Lord Buddha clearly says, Majjhima Patipada is the Noble Eightfold Path, which helps people to eradicate Raga Dvesha Moha completely. Because in Lord Buddha's Dhamma, Lord Buddha's teachings, what we are trying to do is eradicate Raga Dvesha Moha completely. Raga Dvesha Moha, there are other names that he has given to it. It's called Sang, it's called Akusal, it's called Klesha, it's called Kala, Kali, Kalo. All these names Lord Buddha has given to Raga, Dvesha, Moha. So the most important thing in Lord Buddha's teachings, what we call Buddha Dhamma, is eradicating Raga, Dvesha, Moha. So the famous Gatha, it says, Sabba Papa Sakarana. That means eradicate all unwholesome. Unwholesome is another word given to that. Kusalasa upasampada. Practice, accumulate and cultivate kusal, that's wholesome. Wholesome thoughts, wholesome action, and wholesome deeds. We have to accumulate them, we have to practice them and accumulate them, and we have to eradicate unwholesome raga, dvesha, moha. Eradicate as much as possible, and if we manage to eradicate it completely, then a person becomes arahat. So sabba papassa karanam kusala sampada sachitta pariyoga. Purify your mind through that process, and then you will get eradicate your vijnana, which is the energy, negative energy produced out of akusal or raga, dvesha, moha, or pleasure, and that will maximize your kusal, that is maitri, karuna, mudita, upekta, and the energy produced out of that is prajna. Prajna is the wisdom that we need to comprehend Buddha Dhamma. So the idea of Buddha Dhamma is to eradicate klesha, akusal, unwholesome, what is unwholesome, and practice and accumulate wholesome. And by doing that, we will maximize our wisdom to the highest level, and we will eradicate the opposite of wisdom, which is vijnana. Wisdom is prajna. And when we maximize prajna and eradicate vijnana completely, a person will comprehend the Four Noble Truths at the highest level and become arahat. But halfway through, he will comprehend the Four Noble Truths at the first level, and he will become Sothapanna. The first level, Lord Buddha called it Satya Jnana. The second level is called Krutya Jnana, and the third level is called Kuta Jnana. Now, remember in the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutta, Lord Buddha has said 13 times he says, 12 times he says, Pubbe Ananusutesu Dhammesu, Chakkungadupadhyana, Padpanya, So in the first round, the 4 times he says now, Dukkha Satya, the noble truth of suffering. He understood the nature of noble truth of suffering, the nature of the reason for noble truth of suffering, way out of the noble truth of suffering, and the way how to come out of noble truth of suffering and the way out of suffering, which is the Noble Eightfold Path. So that is the first level of enlightenment, and that's what we are trying to attain by listening to this Dhamma and practicing the path. So 12 times Lord Buddha says, and so on. So the first 4 times refers to the first level. So a person who listens to Dhamma, I explained in the previous session that he will have 7 Buddha, he or she will have 7 Buddha Jnanas, 7 special wisdoms. The Samma Sambuddha has 73 special wisdoms, what we call Tesatta Jnana, Tesatta Buddha Jnana, or 73 wisdoms of Samma Sambuddha in English. And a person who has become Sothapanna would have attained 7 of them. Those 7 are Sutta. The first one, he will learn, he will comprehend by listening to the correct Dhamma. Second one is Sila, that's discipline. Once he listens to the correct Dhamma, he will comprehend, he will understand what we mean by Sila Me Jnana. In other words, what is Kotyak Sangvara Sila, the unlimited number of disciplines, what Lord Buddha explained, out of which 5 precepts is only 5, 8 precepts is only 8 out of the unlimited disciplines, and 10 precepts is only 10 out of the unlimited number of disciplines. So he will have the second Buddha Jnana. He will know what we mean by Kotyak Sangvara Sila, the unlimited number of disciplines. Then he will have Bhavana Jnana. Bhavana is meditation. He will know exactly what Lord Buddha meant by Anapana Sati Samadhi, Buddha Bhavana, Buddha meditation, or Samma Samadhi. Then that's 3 Buddha Jnanas. Then he will have Dukkha Jnanam, Dukkha Samudaya Jnanam, Dukkha Nirodha Jnanam, Dukkha Nirodhagamini Patipada Jnanam, Ayang Uchati Bhikkhave Samadhi. So a person who has these 4 jnanas and the previous 3 jnanas, in other words, 7 wisdoms altogether, that person has attained Samadhi. Now, what is Samadhi? Archana, can you remember what is Samadhi?
The vision, Samadhi is the vision, Bhante, which helps us to eradicate the raga, dvesa, and moha.
That's correct. To elaborate that, that's 100% correct, Archana. To elaborate that, the person who has attained Samadhi, that person knows exactly how to eradicate raga, dvesha, moha completely. But he hasn't done it yet. By coming to that level, by comprehending that level, he has completed the first level of enlightenment, Sangmaditi. Sang means raga, dvesha, moha. Ma means completely eradicating. Ditti is the vision or the complete understanding or comprehension. Or to put it very simply, the way to do it. So this person who has attained Sammaditi, he knows the way to eradicate Sammaditi, to eradicate Raga Dvesha Moha completely. But he hasn't completed it yet. Once he has completed the first level Sammaditi, then he will move on to the second level Samma Sankappa, then third level Samma Vacha, fourth level Samma Kammanta, fifth level Samma Ajiva, sixth level Samma Vayama, seventh level Samma Sati, and the final level Samma Samadhi. Samma Samadhi is the meditation. So we come to serious meditation last. We have to complete 7 levels before we start serious meditation, as Lord Buddha explained in the Sothapanna Sutra. So then Lord Buddha says the person who has attained Sammadhi is Sothapanna. The title given to that person is called Sothapanna. Sotha means Nibbana Marga. Apanna means arrived at. So that person has arrived at the Nibbana Marga. So the person who has come to Nibbana Marga, in other words, Sothapanna, he has taken a U-turn and he has started reducing, cutting down Aswada. In other words, he has started reducing, satisfying the 6 senses. Secondly, he has come out of Kama Sukha Likan Yoga altogether. And thirdly, he has come to Majjhima Patipata, which is Samadhi. Then Lord Buddha says, in order to become Samadhi, in order to attain Samadhi, one has to comprehend the 4 noble truths at the first level. In other words, one has to know exactly what we mean by Dukkhang Arya Satchang, that is the noble truth of suffering. What is the noble truth of suffering? Dukkha Samudaya Arya Satchang. what is the reason for noble truth of suffering, and then the dukkha nirodho arya satcham. What is the out of suffering, out of what is the way out of suffering, out of noble truth of suffering, sorry. And fourthly, what is the way out of noble truth of suffering? Dukkha nirodhagamini patipada satcham. So one has to know these four first. So in order to know those four, Lord Buddha says, there are four things one has to do. The first one is Kalyana Mitra Sevana, which means, what is Kalyana Mitra Sevana, Archana?
Associating with a good friend who will help you to show the correct path and explain you the correct Dhamma.
Yes, correct. Let me elaborate on that. Kalyana Mitra Sevana means someone who is capable of explaining you Dhamma that will help you to eradicate Raga Dvesha Moha completely. Kalyana Mitra Sevana means associating such a person. You associate a person who is capable of explaining to you how to eradicate Raga Dvesha Moha completely as per Lord Buddha's teachings. That is Kalyana Mitra Sevana. Siri Saddharma Shravana. What is Siri Saddharma Shravana, Archana?
Listening to the correct Dhamma?
Yes, listening to the correct Dhamma explained by that Kalyana
Kalyana
Mitra.
Mitra. Yeah.
Yes. The third thing one has to do is Yoniso Manasikara. What is Yoniso Manasikara, Archana?
Wise attention, comprehend it, contemplate on it, understand it, and realize it. Practicing.
Yes, quite right. Let me elaborate a little more on that. Once the person has associated the Kalyana Mitra and listened to his Dhamma, so that's what you are doing now. Right now, you are associating a Kalyana Mitra and listening to the Dhamma he's explaining. Then the third thing you will have to do on your own, Yoniso Manasikara means you go, once you have learned the Dhamma, you remember it, and you on your own you go through it several times and analyze it using your intelligence and wisdom and try to comprehend it. And the fourth one is Dhammanu Dhamma Patipada. What is Dhammanu Dhamma Patipada, Archana?
Practicing according with the Dhamma, Bhante?
Yes, practicing according to Dhamma. In other words, practicing Anapana Sati Samadhi meditation technique, which will help you to eradicate Raga Dvesha Moha completely. Anapana Sati Samadhi meditation does not mean breathing in, breathing out. What it means is taking in wholesome, putting out unwholesome. Taking in wholesome thoughts, putting out unwholesome thoughts. So when you do that, it will improve your wholesome qualities in your Chitta Santana, which I will explain you as I go on. And also gradually eradicate the unwholesome qualities you have in your Chitta Santana, which is Raga Dvesha Moha, and strengthen the wholesome qualities, which is Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka. We will explain in more detail what is Raga Dvesha Moha and what is Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka, and what is wholesome qualities, unwholesome qualities, what are the wholesome actions, unwholesome actions, and the merits and the sins. We will explain them later. So for the time being, let's learn Dhamma at this level and try and understand what we mean by Kamasupallikana Yoga, Atha Kilamatana Yoga, and Majjhima Patipada. Then, now let's see what we mean by, let's try and analyze and elaborate on Dukkhang Arya Satchang. That's the noble truth of suffering. Dukkha Samudaya Arya Satchang, noble truth of the reason for suffering. Third one is Dr. Nirodhavaril Satyam, Noble Truth of Out of Suffering. And the fourth one is Dukkha Nirodhagamini Patipada Satyam, Noble Truth of the Way Out of Suffering. So let's look at the first one, Noble Truth of Suffering. Now in the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutra, this is how Lord Buddha explains it. Idanko panabhikkave dukkang arya satyam. Jati pi dukkha, jara pi dukkha, vyadi pi dukkha, maranam pi dukkha. Soka parideva dukkha domanassa upayasa pi dukkha. Piyehi vipayogo ko appiyehi sampayogo. There are 11 types of suffering that Lord Buddha has explained there, that every human being undergoes as a result of not practicing the Dhamma. 11 types of suffering, he explained. And it is also referred to as 11 fires that burns us all the time, cause us suffering, makes us, suffer mentally, sometimes also physically, as a result of this 11 types of suffering, 11 fires. It's called Ekolosginna, 11 fires. We will explain what these are. Then he says, Yampi Ichang Nalabati Tampi Dukkang. Yampi Ichang means if we have tanha, if we are attached to something or someone with raga, dvesha, moha, Yampi Ichang Nalabati. If we don't get it, if we don't get what we want, and Yampi Ichang Nalabati Tampi Dukkang, that will cause suffering. Let me say it again. Yampi dukkang nalabati, yampi dukkang nalabati sampi dukkang means if we develop an attachment with raga, dvesha, moha to a person or an object, and if we are not getting what we are expecting from that person or that object, that will cause us suffering, especially mental suffering. Then Lord Buddha says, Sankittena pancha upadana skandha dukkha. Sang means raga, dvesha, moha. The pancha upadana skandha, we will explain it later, but for the time being, I would say rupa, vedana, sanya, sankara, vijnana. We will explain what they are in detail. And he says, when this rupa, vedana, sanya, we have the word. What's the English word? Let me think of the English word. The Magadhi word Lord used was upadana. When we get hold of it tightly, when we are strongly attached to it, that is the first noble truth of suffering, because that leads to enjoying our swada, which has the adi, a terrible downfall, which means when we are enjoying our swada, we are accumulating unwholesome qualities and sins, which will lead us to go to the four hells after the human life. So let's look at it from the beginning. Now, this first noble truth of suffering, starting with Jati pi dukkha, jara pi dukkha, vyadi pi dukkha, maranam pi dukkha. But let me explain it in more detail. Jati pi dukkha. There's a sutra called Jati Dharma Sutra in the Tripitaka. In that, Lord Buddha explains that everything in the world, everything that we can see, live or not, every natural object or every natural living being, we can classify it into different jati. Jati means different types. For example, if we take live objects, people can be classified into so many different jati, different types. Tall people, short people, fat people, thin people, white people, black people, old people, young people. Then if we take fish, different types of fish, long fish, short fish, big fish, small fish, heavy fish. Then if we take other animals, animals we can classify into so many different jatis, different types, elephants, lions, tigers, foxes. Then foxes we can classify into so many different types, tall, big, short. Then objects without any life, natural objects like mountains, rivers, water, sand. These things can be classified into different types. So that's what we mean by jati. So jati pi dukkha. Pi means tanha. If you develop tanha means you attachment with raga, dvesha, moha. Now actually karuna, mudita, upekkha is bad. So what he says is jati pi dukkha. If we develop an attachment with raga, dvesha, moha to any natural object or natural living being, any living being, any natural object, live or not, if we develop an attachment with raga, dvesha, moha, that will cause us suffering. I will explain that in more detail. Then jarapi dukkha, let me explain these four and come back to that and give you a couple of examples. Jarapi dukkha means if we develop an attachment to a jati, as I explained earlier, attachment with raga, dvesha, moha, and jara means getting old. If that object or that person is getting old and we are not getting what we are expecting from that, then that will cause us suffering. Jarapi dukkha. Vyadipi dukkha means falling sick. If we develop an attachment with raga, dvesha, moha, with a person or an object, and if that person or that object is falling sick or getting broken down, for example, if we are attached to our mother with raga, dvesha, moha, and if she is falling sick, and that will cause us problems. If we are attached to our car, and if that car is breaking down all the time, and we are not getting what we are expecting from that, that will cause us suffering. Vyadipi dukkha, maranampi dukkha. Maranampi means getting completely destroyed, coming to an end, or dying. For example, if we are attached to our mother or father with raga, dvesha, moha, which is tanha, and then if that person dies, and it will cause us suffering because we are not getting what we are expecting from that person. Similarly, if we are attached to our car or house with raga, dvesha, moha, and if that gets destroyed completely, if we lose our car or if we lose our house completely, if it gets destroyed by a tsunami or a cyclone, then that will cause us suffering. So here, these four types of suffering all depends on attachment, tanha. Now, in the second noble truth of suffering, Lord Buddha gives three reasons for the suffering, human suffering. That is kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. So let me explain those three, before I go back to explain the 11 types of suffering that Lord Buddha explained and the first noble truth. So the second type of suffering, Lord Buddha says, the reason for suffering is kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. Tanha means attachment with raga, dvesha, moha. Kama tanha means the desire, deep attachment we have for satisfying the six senses. If a person is deeply attached, which means tanha, with raga, dvesha, moha, to satisfying his six senses, and that person has kama tanha. Bhava tanha means that person would like to be reborn in the 31 planes that Lord Buddha explained and keep satisfying the six senses. He doesn't like to go to Nibbana because he wants to be somewhere and satisfy the six senses. That is Bhavatanha. And Vibhavatanha means that person who has Vibhavatanha, that is the worst case scenario. He doesn't believe in any Dhamma. He doesn't believe in previous life. He doesn't believe in life after death. He doesn't believe in Lord Buddha's teachings. He doesn't believe in wholesome deeds and unwholesome deeds, merits and sins. He doesn't believe in anything. He believes that this life is just a one-off. So do whatever he has to do to find the resources to satisfy the six senses as much as possible. In other words, do whatever necessary, steal, murder, do anything to find the money, find the resources to enjoy to the maximum. Enjoy means enjoying aswada by satisfying the six senses. So that is the worst case scenario. So the reason for suffering is attachment with raga, dvesha, moha, tanha. So here we are saying the jati-pi dukkha, jara-pi dukkha, vyadi-pi dukkha, marana-pi dukkha. These are four scenarios where a person is attached to something or someone with raga, dvesha, moha. Let me give you an example now. Let's say there's a young couple, married young couple, and the son's mother is living with the couple, and couple has two children, and the mother does all the housework. She does the cooking, cleaning, washing, ironing, and looking after the two grandchildren, taking them to school and back. And the son and the daughter-in-law does not know Dhamma. So they are attached to the mother. They love mother very much, mother and the mother-in-law for the daughter-in-law. Let's say mother, son and the wife love the mother because of what they are getting in return. What they are getting in return is mother is looking after the house, looking after the grandchildren, taking them to the school, and also doing the cooking, cleaning, washing, ironing, shopping, all that. Whatever the mother does, and they love the mother because of what they are getting in return. But if that changes, if that condition changes, supposing the mother falls sick, and my mother falls sick and unable to do those duties, then the love, the attachment they have turns into anger because they are not getting what they were expecting. What they were expecting was the mother to provide these services for them. They love the mother very much. But if the mother falls sick and unable to perform these duties, then their love turns into anger. Their attachment turns into anger. And why they have the attachment turns into anger? Attachment is raga, anger is dvesha. They love the mother with raga, dvesha, moha because they don't know Dhamma, and that is moha. Moha is not knowing Lord Buddha's Dhamma. The person who has moha has not even comprehended Dhamma at the first level. Because of that, he doesn't know what is raga, what is dvesha, and his attachment to the mother is with raga and dvesha because he has moha. Supposing now the second stage is now mother falls sick, mother gets old, and she is unable to perform these duties she performed before. So it's again yampi ichanna labati tampi dukkam. They are not getting, the son and the daughter-in-law are not getting what they're expecting from the mother, what they were getting earlier. Then their love turns into anger because their raga turns into dvesha because they have moha. Moha means not knowing Dhamma, not knowing Lord Buddha's correct Dhamma. Third situation, their mother dies So if the mother dies, then again their love turns into anger because all the benefit that they were getting from the mother, and they will not get it anymore. So their love turns into anger, and then they will get, they'll be worried, they'll be crying, and they will end up suffering because their love, their attachment to the mother was with raga, dvesha, and moha. But if the attachment was with maitri, karuna, mudita, upekka, I will explain you what is maitri, karuna, mudita, upekka, and what is raga, dvesha, moha. Now, for the time being, just try and comprehend this, try and understand this. If the attachment is with maitri, karuna, mudita, upekka, that means the son and the daughter-in-law has listened to Dhamma from Kalyanista, and they know, they have comprehended Dhamma at the first level, and they know what is the raga, what is dvesha, and what is moha. So instead of loving their mother instead of having the attachment with raga, dvesha, moha, their love and attachment towards the mother, with the mother, is with maitri, karuna, mudita, upekka. In which case, if the mother falls sick, or mother gets old, or mother dies, their love and the attachment to the mother will not change. Their love will not turn into anger and resentment because they know Dhamma. The attachment with the mother is they know that mother has done so much for them from the childhood. Mother gave them birth and she sacrificed good part of their life to bring them up, gave them education, provided them with the basic necessities as much as possible, and then because of that, the attachment with the mother is maitri, karuna, upekka, which means they are not expecting anything in return for the love. It's unconditional love they have towards their mother. So whether the mother is well and strong and doing all the work, or whether she falls sick and unable to do the work, or she is old and unable to do the work, and she dies and she is unable to do the work forever, their love will not change for the mother because their love is with maitri, karuna, mudita, upekka. And it's not with raga, dvesha, moha. It's unconditional love they have. So unconditional love, unconditional attachment with parents or anything, which okay, it's good. But conditional love with raga, dvesha, moha, and that's not good. And that is that is the explanation that I can give you to the first four sufferings that Lord Buddha explained out of the 11 suffering in Jati Dukkha. So let's look at the next five. Next five is Jati Dukkha, Jara Dukkha, Vyadhi Dukkha, Marana Dukkha. Then Soka Parideva Dukkha Domanasa Upayasa Pi Dukkha. Now, when we are attached to something with raga, dvesha, moha, or maitri, karuna, mudita, upekka, if we are attached to something with raga, dvesha, moha, we give that attachment values in return for what we are getting. Now, let's say attachment number one, if we are deeply attached to something, we give it 100 out of 100 value. And the next lower level is 80 out of 100. Next lower level is 60 out of 100. That's the third level. Fourth level is 40 out of 100. And the fifth level is 20 out of 100. So let's say first level, we are attached to our parents with raga, dvesha. And if they die, and our whole world will collapse, and we will become completely, disorientated, and we will become we want to commit suicide, become suicidal. because the entire world collapses. The value of parents with Raga Dvesha Moha, because parents did everything. For example, a 15-year-old child who is in school, and his love for the parents is what he is getting from them. He gets everything from them. The entire world is his parents, and he's attached to them with Raga Dvesha Moha. If by any chance they die, both of them are to die with an accident or something, let's say a motor car accident, then the child, whole world will collapse and he will become suicidal. That's the worst case scenario. Now let's say second level, he loses his father only. Then he, the second level, 80% of the value, 80% of the things that he was getting in return, getting from the father, he will get no more. Then he will become depressed. So that's the second level of suffering. First level, the worst case scenario, then the next lower level. It depends on the value he has given. Third level, let's say his next valuable thing, let's say his motorbicycle, or the car. Let's say he has a car. A 16-year-old in UK or USA may be having a car. He loses the car. Then that's the third level of suffering he will have, third lower level. Fourth level, let's say he loses his best friend. To his best friend, he has given the value at 40% of the total value. So he will suffer at the fourth level. And fifth level, let's say he had an expensive wristwatch. He lost that. And the fifth level, he will suffer. The suffering will be lower. So the amount of suffering that the person will undergo depends on the amount of value he has given to the attachment. The value depends on what he is getting in return. From father and mother, he got everything. So his suffering level was 100. He becomes totally disillusioned and he becomes suicidal. Second level, he lost his father, 80% of what he was getting, he lose, he'll become depressed. Third level, his car, without the car, he had the third most important thing to him in life was the car, because he liked it so much and he could drive, he could go to school, he could go to work, to his part-time job. Because in UK, USA, by the time people are 12 years of age, they start doing part-time jobs. And by the time they are 16, they get driving license and start driving. So car is a very important thing to them. Their first car, if they lose that, then that's the third most important thing to them. Their suffering level is 60%. So if he lost both parents, his suffering level is 100%. If he lost the father, his level is 80%. He lost the car, his level of suffering is 60%. If he loses his best friend, it's 40%. If he loses his wristwatch, and he will suffer 20%. Level of suffering will change according to the value that he has given to his attachments. Does that make any sense, Archana?
Yes, Bhante, absolutely.
Nagsen, does that make any sense?
Oh yeah, Bhante, yes, of course, 100%.
Right. So those who are listening to it for the first time, I want you to listen to it several times using your Yoniso Manasikara, and you will realize that. You see? So that's the first 4 plus the next 5. It's nine types of suffering. So jati dukkha, jara dukkha, vyadhi dukkha, marana dukkha, soka parideva dukkha, domana supayasa dukkha. Then Lord Buddha says the next 2, piyehi vipayogo dukkho, appiyehi sampayogo dukkho. Piyehi vipayogo dukkho means if you are attached to something with raga, dvesha, moha, And if you have to leave that, or if you are going to lose that, let's say again, let me think of an example. You are doing a job. You are doing a job which you like very much, and you will have to change that job and go to something which you don't like. You lose the job that you like. So PA Hivipayogo, you have to depart from what you like, and that will cause you suffering if you didn't know that. If you attach to the job with raga, that will cause you suffering. Then Appiyehi Sampayoga. You get a job that you don't like doing. That will also cause you suffering if you don't know Lord Buddha's correct Dhamma, because you dislike that because you don't know what is raga and what is dvesha. You will be resenting that job. You will do it because you have to earn a living, but you will not be enjoying it. You will be suffering because you don't like it. So those are the 9 types of suffering Lord Buddha explained as Jatipi Dukkha, Jarapi Dukkha, Vyadi Dukkha, Maranam Dukkha, Soka Parideva Dukkha Domanasa Upayasapi Dukkha, Piyehi Vipayogo Dukkha, Appiyehi Sampayogo. Now all these 9 suffering take place as a result of tanha, kama tanha, bhava tanha, bhava tanha. Tanha is attachment with raga, dvesha, moha. Now the time is 9:30 in India and Sri Lanka. We got another half an hour left. And that half an hour, 25 minutes, I will give people for asking questions. And the last 5 minutes for, last 5 minutes is for transferring merits and wishing Nibbana for everyone. Transferring merits for those who donated, for the Sanghadana, for the monks, as well as who joined the Dhamma sermon, who helped this Dhammadana by way of providing the internet facility and by acting as co-host and recording these sermons and publishing them, posting them, publishing them on the social media and so on. For all those people and their relatives who have passed away, and also those living beings living on the 31 planes, we will transfer merits to them and wish them Nibbana during the last 5 minutes. So I think this is a logical point to stop. And next time I can explain you Sankhittena Pancha Upadana Skandha Dukkha, which is the most important part of Lord Buddha's teachings. So I'll stop there now and give you time to ask any questions. Anyone can ask questions now from what we discussed so far.
Sadhu. Thank you so much, Bhante.
Anyone has any questions? Some of these Dhamma points are very, very difficult to explain in English language, because English language does not have words to explain Dhamma. Lord Buddha explained Dhamma in Magadhi language. Magadhi language has so many words to explain Dhamma. For example, unwholesome, to explain unwholesome, there are words such as Raga, Dvesha, Moha, Sang, Akusal, Kala, Kali, Kalo, Klesha, Keles, so many words to explain one meaning. Similarly, wholesome means Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka, and also Kusal. There are other words, I can't think of them now. To explain one thing, there are so many words. But in the English language, there's no single word to explain raga. We call it attachment, but that is not 100% correct. Raga means attachment with what you are getting in return. There's no single word to explain to give the identical meaning of raga. Same with dvesha, same with moha. So in the English language, there are no single words that gives the identical meaning of the Magadhi word that Lord Buddha has used to explain Dhamma. So that's why sometimes I struggle to explain certain Magadhi words in English. But hope you understand that. I will try my best to explain them using several English words, but sometimes it's difficult. I have to use, Magadhi words and explain the meaning of that Magadhi word using several English words. I will try my best. But if it is not clear to you, question me now during the question time. We have 20 minutes, 21 minutes for questioning. Please make full use of that and ask any questions from what we discussed so far. What we discussed so far was what we mean by Sothapanna. A Sothapanna person has 7 Buddha Jnanas, 7 special wisdoms, 7 out of the 73 that the Samma Sambuddha has. Then that person has attained Sothapanna. He has completed the first path of the Noble Eightfold Path, first fold of the Noble Eightfold Path, and he has also eradicated 3 of the 10 sangyojana, the 10 bonds, 10 unwholesome bonds that binds us to samsara, this process of life and death, samsara. So those are the things that we discussed earlier. Today we discussed jati pi dukkha, jara pi dukkha, vyadhi pi dukkha, marana pi dukkha, soka parideva dukkha domana, sopayasa pi dukkha, pi yehi vipayogo dukkha, api yehi sampayogo, yampi ichang nalabati tampi dukkha. So if you have any questions from those Dhamma points, please ask them now. Any questions, anyone? Archana, you have any questions? Nangsen, you have any questions?
No question, Bhante ji. But last time you did mention to me that you are with Arhant monk and you are getting lot many things from him. So I'm very much eager to know about the next path, or like what is to be done to, on this path.
Yes, we will come to that at the end of the Sothapanna series, at the end of season 4. I will explain what I have learned so far beyond Sothapanna, what I have learned from the Arahat monks. I go and see him from time to time, and I am still learning. Whatever I have learned, I will explain at the end of this series. Okay.
Thank you, Bhante ji.
People who joined the Dhamma sermon today, and we are remembering them. Thank you all very, very much, and lots of merits to you. And firstly, all those merits that you have earned by providing Sangadana and also listening to Dhamma today and discussing Dhamma, as well as all the merits that all of us accumulated throughout our samsara. First, let's transfer them to all our relatives who have passed away, starting with Bodhisattva Bharat Ratna Baba Sahib Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, because of whom most of us are here, or the Indian Buddhists have joined our Vihara because of Dr. Ambedkar. So let's think of Dr. Ambedkar and his family members who have passed away, and also those people who have helped our Vihara in London since we started 31 years ago and passed away. And the relatives of those who have contributed to Sangadana, those who have passed away. And may they all receive these merits. And with the power of these merits, may they all be healthy, be happy, be free from worries, free from suffering. May all their good wishes come true. May all their troubles go away. May they all comprehend the Four Noble Truths and finally attain permanent happiness in Nibbana. In order to make those wishes, I'm going to recite these gathas. If you know the gathas, you can recite them with me. Otherwise, you can just say sadhu 3 times at the end of them. Idam me jnatinang hotu sukita hontu natayo. Idam me jnatinang hotu sukita hontu natayo. Idam me jnatinang hotu sukita hontu natayo. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Next, we are going to transfer merits to all the living beings living on the earth planes. That's including the 20 Brahma Loka, 6 Divya Loka, Manusha Loka, the human world, and the 4 hells. May they all receive all these merits. With the power of these merits, may they all, wherever they are, be healthy, be happy, be free from worries, free from suffering. May all their good wishes come true. May all their troubles go away. May they all comprehend the 4 noble truths and finally attain permanent happiness in Nibbana. In order to make those wishes, I'm going to recite these gathas. If you know the gathas, you can recite them with me. Otherwise, you can just say sadhu 3 times at the end of them. Ettavata chayammehi sambadam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata chayammehi sambadam punya sampadam sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata chayammehi sambadam punya sampadam sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Next, with the power of all these merits, may all of you, all those who contribute to Sangadana and all those who took part in the Dhamma discussion, may all of you and your families be healthy, be happy, be free from worries, free from suffering. May all your troubles go away. May all your good wishes come true. May all of you comprehend the 4 noble truths and finally attain permanent happiness in Nibbana. In order to make those wishes, I'm going to recite these gathas. If you know the gathas, you can recite them with me. Otherwise, you can just say sadhu 3 times at the end of them. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satan samagamo hotu yava nibbana patya idam me punya kamman asavakkaya vahan hotu sabba dukkha pamujjatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Finally, in order to ask for forgiveness from the noble triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, I am going to recite these gathas. If you know the gathas, you can recite them with me. Otherwise, you can just say sadhu at the end of them. And say sadhu 3 times at the end of them. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang achayang kamame bhante bhuripanya tathagata. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang achayang kamame dhamma samditthika kalika. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang achayang kamame sangha supatipanna anuttara. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I am going to give you the blessings of the Mahasangha. Abhivadana Silissa Nichang Vadda Pachayino Chattaro Dhamma Vatanti Ayuvanno Sukambalang Ayurarogya Sampatti Sagga Sampatti Mevacha Ato Nibbana Sampatti Minate Samichatu Bhavatu Sabba Mangalang Rakantu Sabba Devata Sabba Buddhanubhavena Sabba Dhammanubhavena Sabba Sanghanubhavena Sada Sutti Bhavantu Te. May all of you be healthy, be happy, be free from worries, free from suffering. May all your good wishes come true. May all your troubles go away. May all of you comprehend the 4 noble truths and finally attain permanent happiness in Nibbana. May the noble triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha bless you all. Namo Buddhaya, Jai Bhim. Thank you all very, very much and see you once again next month. We will let you know the date in advance. In the meantime, if you have any questions about Dhamma, you can forward them to our Sothapanna series Dhamma group in English, or the Sinhalese one, the Sothapanna Marga in Sinhala. Those who are discussing Dhamma in Sinhala can forward to that. Those who are discussing Dhamma in English can forward to this group, Sothapanna series English group. And if you have any personal matters to discuss, please send you a message to my personal WhatsApp, and I will come back to you. Once again, thank you all very much. My special thanks to Archana, Nagsen, Rima, and also Richard for providing the internet facility. Thank you all very, very much, and may the noble triple gem Buddha Dhamma and Sangha bless you all. Once again, thank you very, very much. Namo Buddhaya, Jai Bhim.
Thank
Can
you,
I take
Bhante.
your leave, Archana, Nagsen?
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante. Please.
Thank you so much, Bhante.